I'm Nikole Mitchell. I'm a life coach and a top OnlyFans creator, and I'm here to share about my experience with you.
Amazing. And so where were you before the session?
I've had this ongoing issue with my family, and it causes my heart a lot of grief and a lot of pain and a lot of sadness. And I think I've done a really good job healing it as much as possible on my own, as well as shoving it down. To me, it feels like it's a lifelong issue, and I only have moments throughout my life where I have the bandwidth to dive into it a little bit more. And so when I don't have that bandwidth, I put it to the side. But it's always in the back of my mind of, is there any chance for healing here? Is there any room for hope here? Is there any room for connection here? And depending on the time of year, I feel more hopeful at times and other times I don't. So it's a very emotional thing for me.
Yeah. And so what was the experience of your session like for you?
So I didn't know what to expect, which I think is pretty awesome in many ways. But I thought, I'm like, it's gonna be an hour long. I don't know why I thought this. So I thought it was gonna be an hour long and that was it. And I think it's supposed to be 2 hours. Is that right, Michael?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that. So I actually got in my head a little bit partway through. I'm like, oh my gosh, am I taking up too much time? Is this eating up his time? Because I didn't know it was a 2 hour session. So I'm like, I should have researched before I did this. But what I loved about the experience is I thought it was just gonna be a 1 hour session, but what I got out of it was nearly a 2 hour session. And then 21 days of support after. I didn't know I was gonna get a recording. It ended up becoming this whole experience. And I was really blown away by that and appreciated that because I want to dive deep. And I also love and know the importance of ongoing support. So having the recording playing to keep that momentum and that healing energy going was a nice surprise for me.
Yeah, amazing. And so how are you feeling now post session?
Yeah, I think in the session, I felt a huge release. I felt a huge breakthrough. I saw things so differently, so clearly. My only regret is I should have journaled right after, but I was like, I'll remember this forever. I highly recommend journaling. But I saw things so differently, and that shifted things in me. And then when I listened to the recording, it puts me back in that space of how I felt during our call or during our session. And even since then, like things have practically shifted a little bit with my family, which in and of itself is a miracle. And I'm just really curious where it's going to take me from here.
Amazing. And I do just want to reflect back to you too. It's because so much of the work that we're doing is subconscious. A lot of people feel like because they're used to doing so much conscious work, they feel they've got to remember it all and consciously
Mhm.
process it all, but you don't because we're shifting on such a deep level. So you'll just see things differently or think different thoughts or just feel slightly differently. And that's really the result more than having to understand it all. I wouldn't stress out too much about
Okay,
that.
that's good to know. And I love that. I love knowing that.
Yeah. And it was emotional, obviously. So was it more emotional than you expected? Can you speak to that?
Oh, yeah. I've done a lot of healing work. And I think I went to such, I got this. And then I went into it, I'm like sobbing hysterically within a matter of minutes. And then it was so funny because I didn't even notice my eyelashes were hanging off my eyes until you said something. And I couldn't even feel where they were. I thought they were like here. I'm like, oh my God, are they on my cheeks? I don't even know where they are, but I like cannot interrupt this because it's so holy and sacred. And I'm so in the zone. But I did not expect how impactful it was going to be. And I also really appreciated you, Michael, because you're a safe person. You have a really safe vibe. And even something as small as the intonation of when you would ask a question and I respond, and you would respond with, yeah. The way you even say, yeah, is, oh my God, I feel so safe with this human. Like I could say anything and I feel so held and no judgment. And I just think those spaces are so few and far between. Where can you really just let it all out and be held and be loved and be pointed back to your power? So you holding that was truly a gift. So thank you.
That's so beautiful. And thank you so much. It's so funny because it's something that I didn't really value in the beginning, but it's been reflected
Mm.
back to me more and more. And then I'm like, actually, just the very energy of the space that you hold for healing,
Oh my
it's
God.
massive. So I thank you for sharing that. I know something that I really love that you shared right after your session was this idea of I consciously knew all this stuff had affected me. And the
Mhm.
coach had said this to me before, but like actually going through it in hypnosis and looking at it in a deep
Mhm.
level, like I got it. And I always say to people, it's almost like
Mhm.
the difference between showing versus telling. So can you like speak to what that was like for you?
Yeah, what I really appreciate about the session was how I feel like it sunk it from my head to my heart. Like it just went to a whole new level. Like, of course, I got things conceptually. I get it. I'm very intelligent, and yet we all can feel when something's landing here but not here. And I wanted it to land here. I wanted it to land in my heart. Once it's in here, I feel like it goes out through my entire body and it changes the way I live and show up. And so I felt like during that session, it like landed. I think that was part of the tears was like that gap was closed. And it just I, like literally as it went from my head to my heart, like the tears were like flowing with it as it just went down and landed. And that's everything. So I feel like once it lands here, you're
Yeah, that's what
unstoppable.
changes everything. That's what I'm
It changes
always trying to
everything.
communicate to people.
Yeah.
But it's like one of
Yeah.
those things. It's the same thing as like, I can say it, and then you experience it, and you're like, oh,
Yes.
oh. So,
Totally.
so to speak to that, because the bane of my existence is trying to explain to people that it's something you can only experience. What would you say to people that are interested but don't quite get, what it
Mm.
is?
So you have it hard here, Michael, because it's so holy. It's hard to put into words. Even after our session, I saw my partner, my personal assistant, shortly after, and I was like in a trance. I almost felt like I was in an altered state of being. And they're like, "What happened? Like, how was it?" And I'm like, I cannot even put that into words. I'm not even ready to put it into words. Like, it is so sacred. I have to just float. And once I feel like I land back on the earth, then I'll put it back into human words. But I don't think anyone could have prepared me for what I went through, even if they had already done it with you. It's just, I think all the right people know you're so magnetizing that I think when people like meet you and then hear that you do this kind of work, I think people just know, oh, snap. I know that if I sign up for a session with Michael, my life's going to be changed. Like it's just a knowing, but without the details. So that's what I say to people. If you're drawn to Michael and you feel something within you, you're the one. Like you're the one who's going to feel the most, have the biggest transformation in a session with Michael. Yeah.
Thank you so much for saying that. That's what I always say to him. People are like, I've been trying to tell my friend about it, but I don't understand because I haven't had it yet. And then they have it and they're like, I still can't explain to you what it is, but all I can say is you have to do it. I hear that
That's
all the
exactly
time.
it. That's exactly it.
Is there anything else that you want to share about your experience or just like that you would say to someone that's thinking about having a session or maybe feels like they've healed to a point, but there's like something missing?
Yeah. For me, I think I would want people to know that it's not just a session because that's what most coaches, therapists, healers do. It's a single session. And I feel like what you're offering is an experience. And it's not even a one time experience. I love that you offer this incredibly powerful experience. But then you have the follow up recording for the next 21 days. And then you even offer a follow up call. Like it's like you're offering a package. And I think that's what I wish people knew. Because, oh, I could sign up with any one person for a single session. So this isn't a single session with Michael. This is a transformation package that he's created for you. And I think for people like me who like have done quite a bit of healing work, who know a lot and have done a lot of healing, but there's still just something there. To me, I almost feel like residue. There's residue, and no matter how much I try to consciously remove it, I just know it's deeper than that. And that's when you know you have to go someone to Michael. So Michael, rub me clean in here and take care of it for me. And I think that's what you do so well.